Hey guys, Ron Shearer, Shearer Fabrications. It's January 2nd, 2023, and we are here today to kick off our YouTube channel. We went to start this channel just after PRI 2019, and then COVID took over the world, and we never finished up on it. Here we are 3 years later, just now getting started. Thought we'd start today with a quick tour of the shop. We moved in here about 4 years ago when I purchased my first CNC machine. The shop is about 7,000 square feet, just a little bit under. Plus we have a shop on the side for our own personal projects. It's about 500 square foot. Main area, we have sheet metal and sawing sheet metal and machining back around this corner and welding up this way and kit pack around the corner here. Main interest of the place is this garage door behind me. All of the raw bar stock comes in this way and finished goods go out this way as well. We store the bar stock on this rack behind me here, mainly comprised of aluminum and stainless stuff. We chop it up here in the self-feeding bandsaw, gets deburred over there, and we store it on this pallet rack behind us where it waits to get machined. On this pallet rack as well is a lot of our flat sheet metal stock that we cut. We store it flat because it takes up a lot less space, and we can keep a lot more on hand. We got a couple thousand pieces of various water tanks, air tanks, brackets, whatever to make our intercoolers, water tanks, and intake parts. On the shelf as well is a bunch of valve cover parts from a business that I acquired last year. I think it was a pretty prominent valve cover line in the early 2000s, late 90s. Basically, management changed, it was mismanaged, and the product line was shelved. So they put it up for sale last year. I jumped in and purchased it, and we're in the process of reverse engineering a lot of their 1990s AutoCAD drawings and turning them into modern day SolidWorks stuff. A lot of cool stuff, anything from like a 23 degree small block Chevy valve cover, standard big block Chevy, up to Brad Anderson Hemi, and a lot of weird stuff in between, like 3-cylinder turbo diesel stuff for some weird motor I've never even heard of. But we're working on reverse engineering a lot of that. A couple years back we started on an LS valve cover, LS sheet metal valve cover, and we basically never released it because I wasn't a good enough machinist to figure out how to reliably make the valve cover rails. So, fast forward a couple years, I'm a little bit smarter than I was back then, and we've been plugging away at the LS valve covers and hoping to get those released in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I feel it's a pretty nice product, and then we're going to get those released, followed up by big block Chevy and small block Chevy, and then onto some of the other stuff that was included in this product line. So flat sheet storage here, we have a bending area here, Bailey CNC brake with a 4-foot 10 Smith brake as well. One thing I feel that we do a little bit differently here is we don't really have a dedicated sheet metal guy or a sheet metal bending guy. If you're going to weld the part, you're going to bend the part as well. I feel that a welder has a much greater appreciation for seam fitment than just a sheet metal guy is. So if you weld it, you're bending it. Here on the other end of the bending area is our flat sheet storage. It's all aluminum. We stock 090, 1/8 inch, and 3/16, and we chop it up on this router here. It's a 5-foot by 10-foot router. We're currently working on a new spoil board for. Chose the router because I feel like it gives a higher quality cut edge, since we're mechanically cutting it with a carbide end mill and not plasma cutting it. It doesn't have stuff embedded into the weld edge, and it takes less post-processing once it's cut. Basically just do a quick deburr, put it on the flat sheet rack, and it's ready to go. So, and then on to my favorite area of the shop, the machining. Like I said, we bought our first machine about 4 years ago. I had no idea what I was doing, and a lot of hard work and broken end mills and bad parts. We're slowly figuring out what we're doing back here. But 5 CNC machines, 4 3-axis and 1 5-axis machine. I got this 5-axis about 2 years ago with the intent of making billet intake manifolds, and we haven't sold a single billet intake yet. Basically, just after we got it, another friend in the industry, he had some parts that needed a multi-axis machine to make them, and this thing's been pretty busy running his parts ever since. I bought the CAM software that we were using at the time. I quickly realized it wasn't powerful enough to do a lot of the billet intake stuff that we wanted to do, so I bought Mastercam, and a lot of the holdup has just been me because I don't have the free time to sit down and learn this new software. And I've got 5, 6 manifolds. I have two Coyote manifolds designed up. One's kind of a tunnel ram to be used with our intercooler, and the second one is a surge style intake. I have an LS3 completely designed up, and I have 2 big block Chevys, standard port and spread port, about 80% of the way done. So once I start figuring out how to use the master cam, we're really going to start plugging away and getting the billet intakes released. I'm hoping like mid to later this year, but that might be wishful thinking. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. This machine back here, it's our second CNC machine that we bought. It has been our aluminum workhorse, but we just acquired a VF4 back here a couple months back that's assuming all the workhorse work that this thing did, and we're repurposing this machine into strictly an aluminum part 4th axis, or repurposing it for making aluminum parts that require a 4th axis, which we have quite a bit of, as it turns out, which will be nice because with the 4th axis we'll be able to reduce some of the operations that some of our parts need. This VF4 showed up about 3-4 months ago. It's a 5-axis capable machine. Currently using it just for 3-axis work, intercooler flanges, throttle body flanges, a lot of the brackets we do, flanges, etc. This is our new aluminum workhorse, and it's quite nice having a much larger, 50-inch X travel versus a 30-inch X travel, so we can fit a lot more work on the table than just using our old VF2. This VF2 here is it's strictly for doing stainless stuff. We make our stainless flanges, the stainless merges, some stainless brackets, and just prototyped these billet stainless collectors about a month and a half ago. Some of you guys may not know this, but we used to build a lot of headers back in the day. Started off building a lot of pipe headers for 4G63 applications, and that evolved into doing some LS stuff, LS, then small block Ford, and some big block Chevy stuff as well. And well, we've been so overrun with intercooler work the last few years, we just haven't had time to do headers. I want to get that product line launched again, and to be able to successfully do it now, we have to work smarter instead of harder like we used to do back in the day. So trying to simplify things and let some of the machines do work for us. We have some really nice billet head flanges made now, and once we get these collectors done, that'll be the 2 big key pieces to the puzzle to get our headers launched again. And then once these collectors are done and finalized, we can start working on some of the bandsaw stuff. I'll touch on that here in a minute, to get the header line or header products launched again. This back here is tool storage, just a couple Husky toolboxes. We keep all our carbide in here, and carbide end mills, collets, tool holders, stuff like that. This machine here is the first machine we bought. Old VF4, mid-90s. It's really slow, pretty powerful, and it's really accurate considering its age, but right now it's broke, about a 20 cent per foot hydraulic line busted, and we got to take apart half the machine to get it fixed, so it's been sitting for a while. And now we'll go off to the welding area. I thought about not even showing this because it's a bit of a disaster. We have a bunch of overflow stuff sitting here, and then bunch of big work we do for some of our industrial customers, and the place is it's a mess. So 2 welding stations, got a couple of these big enclosures we're making for a customer of ours. We got some intercoolers going together as well. Looks like these are ultra low profile or low profile 1800 intercoolers. Pretty cool, man. We make all this stuff in-house, minus the cores we buy from a big industrial company. They show up in big bricks, and we cut them down to size. We make everything here in-house, minus the raw material, obviously, as well. But we cut the sheet metal, we bend the sheet metal, we cut the flanges, we weld them. We do everything here in-house. I don't know, pretty proud of our accomplishments that we've done over the last few years with such a small staff. Can't wait for the years to come. We've come quite a long way in 3-4 years. This area here, it's the overflow area for the welding area right now. This is where we're going to do most of our header fabrication here. The 2 bandsaws, downdraft table is how I have it laid out in my head. The bridge ports are going to stay, the grinder's going to get moved, and we're going to do most of our header fab in this area, get everything tacked up on the fixtures, then it'll go over to welding over here for final welding. And then get cleaned up in this room back here. We got to slap some paint in these walls. I'm sick of looking at the wood, but pretty excited to get this area going and getting our header products launched again. This shelf behind me is where we store most of our, actually 90% of our intercooler cores. Kind of low on inventory right now because we're on the backside of Black Friday and we just haven't replenished a lot of our cores. But these 2 shelves here and these 3 shelves here are typically loaded with Garrett cores. And up here we keep some of the Vibrant stuff for our economy line. Hoping to expand on that in the coming months as well. Try to get just some in stock, ready to go, ship same day, budget-oriented intercoolers for you guys that aren't doing huge horsepower builds. And this is our kit pack area. It's kind of where the 2 workflows kind of merge. This place is currently a source of constant stress for me because we just reorganized it not too long ago. We're on like version 2 of the organization, and I'm still not happy with it. But basically here we do a lot of laser etching. We clean our parts, we bag our parts, we bring them down here, and we put them in boxes where the boxes get labeled, and they go off around the corner into our final goods warehouse where I pluck it and ship it when stuff gets ordered. But yeah, basically it's a pretty simple area. It's just box storage, a lot of bolt storage where we put our bolt kits together and whatnot. I have to start working on this again to get it reorganized and kind of get it so I can achieve a workflow that I'm happy with. It just bothers the heck out of me right now because I'm not happy with it. Finished goods inventory back here. There's really nothing to show other than a couple empty pallet racks. Like I said, we're on the backside of Black Friday, and we've been completely wiped out of inventory. Super grateful for all the support, but I'm also super stressed on that as well because we have some back orders happening right now, and I hate having back orders. I hate making customers wait to get their parts once they order them, but it's a sign of the times right now, and is what it is. We're gonna go next door here to my personal shop, where we can work on my junk or my buddy's cars. Got this place a year and a half ago, and with the intent of it strictly being for my junk and working on my cars. But we reorganized the shop, and we just had to shove a bunch of crap in here and get it out of our way so we can continue working, and I'm just now starting to reclaim it. But I picked this vet up off of Fran at Race Proven a couple years back to mock up our C6 intercooler and do some tanks for it. And I intended to sell it once I was done with it, but I was like, oh, I like the car. So decided we're going to do like a drag week, Rocky Mountain Race Week type car with it. Sent it out to Precision Chassis. They did a hybrid 25.3 lower with a 10-point upper on it. And I was going to piece together a really nice IRS setup for it, but I quickly realized how expensive it is to do a nice beefy IRS setup. So it's going back to get back halved. We're going to throw a 9-inch solid axle in it. 4-link deal. Have a T56. I was originally going to put a 10L90 in it, which we're still going to leave room for, but decided that automatics are lame. And we're going to stick to my stick shift roots and putting a T56 in it, moving the trans forward where it should have been all along, bolting it to the back of the motor, 4-link solid axle, etc., etc. I'm having bad thoughts. I'm thinking about making my own rear end for it. We are a sheet metal shop after all, and just thinking about designing up a 4.9-inch for it and doing some fancy billet 4-link brackets for it. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I need to open that can of worms. Might just call Marilat and have him build me a rear end. He builds some nice stuff, and I'd be happy to run his. I'd be more than glad to run his stuff. It's such high quality work. But we'll cover more on this later. It's going to be we're putting an LS9 ZR1 motor in it to start off, so I can learn how to drive. It's been a really long time since I've had a car of my own. I have a lot to learn, and I've got to learn how to drive. So it's going to be quite the experience getting this thing done and sharing it with y'all. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of failures and frustrations in my future with this, but also a lot of fun. So I can't wait to get this thing going. But that covers our shop tour. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you in a week or two with our next episode.